From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, July the 2nd, 2025. An IDF soldier was killed during fighting in Gaza. The IDF said today he is 19-year-old Sergeant Yaniv Mikhailovich, killed in combat in the northern Gaza Strip. 2 rockets were fired from Gaza at Israel last night at what is called the Gaza envelope area in southern Israel. The IDF said the Air Force intercepted both launches. No damage or injury was reported. The IDF continues its operations in Gaza, sharing today that together with the Shin Bet, it eliminated 2 Hamas terrorists who took part in the killing of 7 IDF soldiers in Khan Yunis on June the 24th. And separately, the IDF said it destroyed a complex underground junction of several terror tunnels, also in the Khan Yunis area. A missile from Yemen was fired at Israel last night by the Houthis. The IDF said red alert sirens sounded across several areas in Israel due to projectile fire from Yemen. It was intercepted. No damage or injury reported there. And the IDF shared footage from a completed Israeli operation in Syria, it said, to apprehend an Iranian-operated terrorist cell in southern Syria, following intelligence gathered during interrogations in recent weeks. The IDF vowing we will continue operating to prevent the entrenchment of any terrorist elements in Syria. And we turn now to reports of a potential 60-day ceasefire agreement presented to terror group Hamas, with reports saying Hamas has received the proposal from Qatar and Egypt acting as mediators and is looking it over. There is no official word from Israel or further information on the proposed agreement. This follows reports yesterday that Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer was meeting with U.S. officials in Washington. As we reported to you, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu heads to Washington next week for a meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump and other officials, reportedly set to take place on Monday, July the 7th. The 50 hostages who remain held by terror group Hamas in Gaza have now been captive for 635 days. United Nations Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese, a staunch Israel critic, accused numerous times of anti-Semitism, published a new report once again today accusing Israel of genocide and calling on companies to not do business in Israel. The report is titled From Economy of Occupation to Economy of Genocide. The World Jewish Congress called Albanese's report another example of her repeated misuse of her mandate, saying the report promotes a deeply biased narrative that ignores the complex realities on the ground, including the ongoing threat of terrorism faced by Israeli civilians and the continued captivity of over 50 hostages held by Hamas, and that it lacks the neutrality, rigor, and fairness expected of any UN report. The Anti-Defamation League called the report an intimidation campaign against companies and corporations, calling for boycotts and threatening criminal prosecution of executives who do business with Israel, saying this is textbook double standards targeting Israel and an egregious abuse of her UN title. In the end, no amount of big words and legal jargon can hide the Special Rapporteur bigotry and bias. Israel will open a new embassy in Estonia, Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar making the announcement during a visit to the capital of Tallinn today, his final stop on a 3-day visit to the Baltic states. The embassy will stand in the capital. Sa'ar met earlier today making the announcement with Estonian Prime Minister Kristen Michal and said, "I was glad to inform him about my decision to open an Israeli embassy in Estonia. It's an expression of our will to strengthen relations. Israel and Estonia," he said, "are both small, innovative nations with great challenges and impressive achievements. We will bring bilateral relations to new heights." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS. For Wednesday, July the 2nd at 7 o'clock, David Harris speaks to Rabbi Shlomo Goldfarb, Chief Rabbi of Kfar Vradim in Israel, where he serves on the front lines with the IDF. At 7:30, a look at Jewish life in Iran, shifting Israeli-Iranian relations, and moments of unexpected Muslim-Jewish alliance across history. At 8:30, Dr. Mordechai Keda provides an expert analysis on the Israel-Iran conflict. At 9, Steve Gutow is on L'chaim. At 10, the ILTV's Insider. At 10:30, an encore of the news. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, July the 2nd, 2025. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.